Okay, Manish, we leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us. And you briefly mentioned that you see the capex goods or the capex companies do well. So let's do one thing. Let's talk about that. Cummins India is one company that reported a very strong set of Q4 earnings. Pent-up demand and a pickup in execution aided growth for this player. Ajay Patil, the Chief Financial Officer of Cummins India, is with us. Mr. Patil, good morning. It was a good quarter for you. Revenue growth of almost 18%. Margins have improved substantially. But I want to understand that since the quarter, things have changed a lot. There was a second wave that hit, delays in execution, etc. came through. How is the situation right now? And what is the expectation in terms of revenue growth over the next 1 to 2 quarters?
Hi, good morning to all of you. Yes, as you rightly pointed out, I think for the quarter, we had a good double-digit growth year on year. Importantly, our bottom line also expanded almost with about 400 basis points. So it was a good quarter in that sense for both top line and margin expansion. Clearly, you asked a question about how do we see the coming quarter. I think the impact of COVID-19, especially the second wave for the month of May, has been fairly widespread. Supply chain, even before the second wave, were impacted as a consequence of disruption on the logistics side, supply chain constraints on the, especially electronics and semiconductor parts. That was anyway impacting the businesses. And with the second wave, which is spread all over the country, and with the localized shutdowns by different states and cities, meant that the pockets of supply chain, as we know, that the southern part of India, west part of India, where we are in Pune or in the north, those supply chains are certainly impacted. So therefore, I would say from a Q2 perspective, we would see that impact for sure. But from there on, I think as the pace of vaccination slowly but surely picking up, number two, with the shutdowns getting relaxed progressively, I do believe that from the coming quarter, sometime, let's say from early part of July onwards, I definitely feel optimistic about a sequential pickup in the supply chain stability.
Okay. Mr. Patil, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Semiconductors you don't use, right? I guess it is your user industries who use. Can you tell us where your demand is coming from? I would assume data centers also want your generators, medical applications, you power buildings and machines as well. Who are your biggest users and where have you seen demand?
Yeah, good morning to you. I think definitely, there is a progressive improvement, as you would have seen in the technology when it comes to the core engine technologies, and the extent of electronics that is being used is rising. Our portfolio also has over time shifted more towards electronic engines, and which would mean that the use of electronics semiconductor components is rising in the engine side, just as a matter of update in terms of how the products are moving up the technology curve. Now, clearly we use that. I mean, in terms of our supply chain has a fair amount of electronics into our portfolio. To your point about end markets, certainly you mentioned about data center, definitely for them, for their broader infrastructure, the dependence on semiconductor components, electronics, which includes a whole host of, whether you talk about control modules, when you talk about sensors, you talk about other electronic items which go on to engines and other infrastructure. That certainly has been an area of constraint over the last few quarters that we have been experiencing.
Okay. You did well on exports in the previous quarter. Q4, I don't think it showed up much. Can you tell us whether there is an opportunity there? Why couldn't you service that market? As well, more generally from the answer you gave me, are you at the moment demand constrained or supply constrained?
Okay, so you asked me 2-3 questions. So let me see. I'll take one by one. So on the export side, clearly, there is a bit of a timing or a cyclicality to the exports. Like, for example, if you recollect the India fiscal quarter of Q3, we had a reasonably good performance on the export side. What we have experienced in the Q4 has been some kind of a rebalancing of inventory levels, as well as some of the startup quarter from a calendar year perspective. So which is not very unusual in terms of seeing a bit of a flat to slightly downward trend, sequentially on the exports. On the supply-demand equation, clearly at this point of time, there is a supply constraint which is impacting more than the demand aspect. And it is true for both domestic as well as the export markets. On the export side, I continue to see the export outlook for the sectors improving. For example, as the rate of vaccination rises globally, as the rate of infection is declining, commodity prices are on the upswing. So therefore, those economies which are commodity dependent, natural resource dependent, those are now getting back their economies on track, and which is a good news in many ways, because from an exports perspective, those markets are now started to consume. On the domestic side, as I see it, it's clearly a supply-driven challenge as opposed to a demand-driven.
Okay, so since we're talking about supply side challenges, I also wanted to ask you about costs, because finally there's been a very sharp surge in input costs. What's the impact that would have on your margins?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there will be certainly an impact. Clearly, all of us have been observing the commodity prices for be it copper, be it steel, be it electrical steel. I mean, all of that has been on the rise. What we have been doing is really two things here. One, we are making those tactical calls in terms of making pricing adjustments to sort of mitigate to some extent the commodities impact. And second is, we continue to have a very mature process when it comes to managing cost. And managing costs through a combination of localization, combination of working on value engineering or component engineering to continue to optimize our costs in the best possible manner. I believe that a combination of this pricing and cost management action, we would be able to mitigate to a large extent the commodity price and cost increases we have been experiencing, and it continues to be so because the commodity prices are still rising as we speak.
Any quick guidance, sir, on revenue or EBITDA, FY22?
I think, at this point of time, considering the uncertainties, as we have previously stated, we are not really giving any guidance from a full year perspective. However, what I definitely believe is that on a sequential basis, I would certainly expect the revenues to pick up. Of course, it is contingent on what is being widely publicized to say whether there could be a potential third wave or whether the vaccination effort kind of falters and slows down. Those are some of the what I would call the pandemic related derailers. On the other hand, on the consumption side, how do the consumption rebound occurs? All of us experienced a pretty strong rebound on the wave one. Same time last year, soon the lockdown opened, the economy rebounded pretty strongly. Would the same thing happen this year as well? I would say I feel optimistic about the consumption rebounding. Whether it would happen in that strongly, I would say give us about a month or so to really see as the shutdown related restrictions ease up. Sometime maybe in end of July or early August.
Okay, Mr.
In a position to say more definitely.
Okay, Mr. Patil, we'll definitely invite you once again late end June or early July to get your feedback. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Well, the markets are still in the green, running into the credit policy. So for the moment, we are going into a break. We are taking a break from equities, and it is full tilt on the big policy announcement that is awaited at 10 a.m. Back in a jiffy.